Money, money, money. We've all heard of billionaires, but have you ever stopped to think just how much money that really is? It's an absurd amount, so much so that the average American would have to work for about 20,000 years and not spend a single penny to make that much cash. But what if we told you there's a man who makes even the likes of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos look poor? Today, on Brandor Luxury, we will meet Mansa Musa, the richest man to ever walk on the earth. Just how wealthy was he? And what did he do with all that money? Join us on a journey through history to uncover the incredible story of the man who truly had it all. When it comes to wealth, there are billionaires, and then there are rulers who controlled half the world. Augustus Caesar, William the Conqueror, and Akbar of India were certainly rich, but their fortunes can be estimated and put into words. Enter Mansa Musa, a man whose wealth was so immense that it's almost impossible to fathom. Official estimates put his net worth at around $500 billion. But many historians believe it was even more than that, with some describing it as incalculable. This was a man who sat on a throne of gold, holding a cup of gold in one hand and a golden scepter in the other, with a golden crown atop his head. The sheer magnitude of his wealth is truly mind-boggling. When it comes to wealth, Mansa Musa makes Elon Musk's fortune look like chump change. Imagine mountains upon mountains of gold, now double it and double it again. Only then can you begin to comprehend just how rich this man and his country truly were. Move over, Iron Man, because when it comes to the ultimate superhero of wealth, it's Mansa Musa who takes the crown. His riches were so vast that his gifts alone wrecked an entire country's economy, as you'll soon discover in this video. Get ready to be amazed by the incredible story of the richest man in history. Talk about luck. Mansa Musa's incredible wealth all happened by accident. He wasn't even supposed to inherit any of it. Born in 2080 AD to the Keita dynasty, which ruled over West Africa, he was the younger brother of the heir Abu Bakr. But Abu Bakr's wanderlust got the better of him, and he became obsessed with exploring beyond the Atlantic Ocean. By 1312, he had already set out on one voyage, but he was hungry for more. What happened next will leave you in awe. Then keep watching if you want to know the epic tale of adventure, exploration, and unexpected fortune. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date. It is a tale of high seas, adventure, and mystery. Abu Bakr, Mansa Musa's elder brother, assembled a fleet of 2,000 ships and set out to explore the vast unknown beyond the Atlantic Ocean. But he never returned. Was Musa behind his brother's disappearance, as some conspiracy theorists suggest? According to them, Musa was a power-hungry maniac who would do anything for the throne. But most historians contest this theory. Regardless of the truth, one thing is certain. Musa woke up one day to find himself ruling one of the wealthiest empires in the world. Hold on to your hats, because we're about to take a journey through the incredible reign of Mansa Musa, the 9th Sultan of the Mali Empire and the most powerful emperor in West Africa. Under his leadership, the kingdom expanded to encompass 24 cities stretching over 2,000 miles from the Atlantic Ocean to Nigeria. But it wasn't just military conquest that made Musa great. It was his savvy approach to trade, particularly in gold, salt, and even elephant ivory. His empire's wealth soared to unimaginable heights. It's not every day that you become one of the wealthiest people on the planet, but for Mansa Musa, it was an accident that truly changed his life forever. He was born into royalty, but was never meant to rule. But fate had other plans for him, and he soon found himself as the emperor of one of the richest empires in the world. Under his leadership, the Mali Empire expanded to include 24 cities, stretching for 2,000 miles, and became a center for the gold, salt, and ivory trade. But what's even more impressive is that many territories joined his empire willingly, drawn to the promise of a better life. Mansa Musa was a conqueror without the need for battle. While Europe was embroiled in wars and struggling for resources, Africa flourished, and Mansa Musa's empire had over half of the world's wealth. His wealth was so immense that even Marvel's Black Panther would have trouble keeping up. So, what can we learn from Mansa Musa? Well, sometimes the most unexpected situations can lead to the greatest success. Are you ready to have your mind blown by the most lavish pilgrimage in history? Mansa Musa, the King of Kings, wanted to show off just how wealthy he was to the world. So, he took a trip to Arabia with an entourage of 60,000 people, including men, women, and slaves. And the best part, they were all dripping in gold. Camels carried so much of it that they had to stack it in heaps on top of heaps. Not to mention, even the slaves were decked out in the finest Persian silk and jewelry. No wonder Mansa Musa is considered one of the most generous and extravagant rulers of all time. Mansa Musa's journey to Mecca was more than just a pilgrimage. It was a spectacle that left people across the world in awe. He led an entourage of 60,000 men, women, and slaves, all adorned with the finest silk and jewels. He also brought with him vast quantities of gold, which he distributed to the people of Cairo along his route. This influx of wealth had such a significant impact on the Egyptian economy that it reportedly caused inflation and disrupted the local markets for years to come. Mansa Musa's wealth was derived from his control of the lucrative gold and salt trade routes in West Africa. Under his rule, the Mali Empire was one of the wealthiest and most powerful in the world, with a vast network of cities, towns, and trade routes spanning much of the African continent. But when he reached Cairo, things got rough. The locals were suspicious when Mansa declined an invitation to meet the Sultan and refused to kiss his feet. But this didn't stop the emperor from leaving a lasting impression on the world. It was anyone's guess what would transpire at that time when the meeting almost took a bad turn. Will the egos of the two kings start a war? The prospect was a very real one. It was fortunate that Musa bowed first and met the other sultan in the manner that Al-Nazir desired. He was prepared to give up his ego when his country's peace was at stake, which is a choice we can all support. In an exchange for Al-Nazir giving Musa and his group a place to stay, Musa left some of his fortunes there. The gold filled the whole city, from the marketplaces to the royal palace and even the slums. Everyone's homes were suddenly filled with tons of rare metal. Mansa Musa's generosity was so immense that it shook the foundations of the economy. The African emperor's pilgrimage was a spectacle of excess and wealth that left the Middle East reeling from the aftermath. Mansa Musa's gold was flowing like a river, and it seemed like nothing could stop the man with the Midas touch. But his generosity came at a cost, and the economies of the region suffered. Even so, tales of his kindness echoed through the streets of Cairo, proving that sometimes even the greatest mistakes can leave a lasting legacy. Money can buy extravagance, but it can also buy legacy. Mansa Musa knew this all too well. After his record-breaking pilgrimage, the king continued to spend his wealth on building a better kingdom. He brought back Islamic scholars and commissioned an architect to build the stunning Djingueber Mosque, paying over 200 gold, equivalent to over $8 million today. And the mosque stood the test of time, being in use for over 500 years and contributing to the rise of Timbuktu as a hub of education, arts, and literature. Musa, the man who put Africa on the map. After his extravagant pilgrimage, his fame and wealth knew no bounds. He didn't just stop at building the famous Djingueber Mosque. He founded Sankore University, which soon became a hub of education and a beacon of African knowledge. Musa's generosity and love for education led to West Africa's golden age of enlightenment. But that's not all. His riches and reputation were so grand that he was immortalized in the 1375 Catalan Atlas, holding a gold nugget, a symbol of his immense wealth. Musa may have started small, but his legacy is larger than life, and he remains a symbol of Africa's vibrant history and rich culture. He built a legacy that would last for generations, but why is he not a household name? After his death, the empire he worked so hard to build fell apart, and colonization sealed the fate of Africa's medieval history. But despite this, his impact cannot be denied. Under his rule, the Mali Empire became the wealthiest country in the world and a hub of education and art. Mansa Musa may not be remembered by all, but his contributions to Africa and the world are immeasurable. Mansa Musa, the richest man in history, was more than just a wealthy king. He was a visionary leader who set an example of generosity, hard work, and putting the well-being of his nation above his own ego. His legacy extends far beyond his immense wealth, as he established Mali as a center for learning, art, and culture. He was a true hero, an inspiration to his people, and a blueprint for future rulers. Maybe he was the real-life Black Panther that we all needed. Have you heard of this incredible ruler before? What do you think about him?